Welcome to my channel, Most Worth Coins WC, where history lives in your hands. If you're passionate about rare coins, vintage currency, and the fascinating stories behind them, you're in the right place. Don't forget to watch the full video. Share it with your fellow collectors, like, and subscribe to stay updated with more valuable content every week. So, let's get started. The 1976 one new penny coin, bearing the inscription Elizabeth II de Greg Fudd 976, is a striking piece of British numismatic history that encapsulates a significant transitional period in the UK's monetary system. Minted during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this coin is part of the decimalized currency series introduced to replace the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been in use for centuries. The coin reflects not only a monetary shift, but also the modernization of Britain's coinage system and cultural symbolism. The obverse of the coin bears the profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most celebrated coin designers of the 20th century. This effigy is noted for its elegance and simplicity, showing the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a gift from her grandmother, Queen Mary. Around the portrait are the Latin abbreviations de Greg FD, which stand for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, translating to By the Grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The date 1976 is placed at the bottom, completing the royal obverse presentation. The reverse of the coin, designed by Christopher Ironside, features a crowned portcullis with chains, an emblem with deep historical ties to British governance and authority, particularly associated with the Palace of Westminster. The portcullis, a heavy gate formerly used to fortify castles, symbolizes strength and the rule of law. It is topped by a Tudor-style crown, reinforcing the royal authority underpinning Britain's constitutional monarchy. Encircling the design are the words "New Penny" above and the denomination "1" below. This reverse design was adopted across all one-penny coins from 1971 until 1981, when the wording was changed from "new penny" to simply "1 penny," reflecting the completion and normalization of the decimal system. The new penny was introduced as part of the Decimal Day reforms on 15th of February 1971, when the UK switched from the traditional pounds, shillings, and pence system to a decimal-based system, making transactions simpler and more compatible with international standards. Prior to decimalization, 12 pence made a shilling, and 20 shillings made a pound. After decimalization, the system was simplified so that 100 pence made a pound. To distinguish the new decimal coins from their pre-decimal counterparts, the word "new" was temporarily added to the reverse inscriptions. The 1976 issue of the new penny coin was one of the final years before the denomination's terminology would be adjusted, as public familiarity with decimal currency solidified. In terms of specifications, the 1976 one new penny was struck in bronze, an alloy typically consisting of about 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. The coin weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and features a plain edge. These physical attributes were consistent across new penny issues during this period. The coin was produced at the Royal Mint, the official mint of the United Kingdom, which at the time had transitioned most of its production to its new facility in Llantrisant, Wales, having moved from the historic Tower Hill site in London during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Millions of these coins were minted, and as such, the 1976 new penny is generally considered common in circulated condition. It is widely available among collectors and is not typically valuable unless in uncirculated or proof condition, or if part of a mint set. Culturally and economically, the 1976 new penny sits within a complex era in British history. The mid-1970s were marked by significant political and economic changes in the United Kingdom. Inflation, labor unrest, and a fluctuating currency marked the financial landscape. The introduction of new coinage played a small but symbolic part in the government's broader efforts to modernize and simplify the nation's economy. Coins such as the 1 new penny were used daily by millions of Britons, making them not only instruments of commerce but also vehicles of national identity and symbolism. Queen Elizabeth II, whose portrait graced every denomination, served as a steady and unifying figure during this tumultuous period. From a numismatic perspective, the 1976 1 new penny is significant for collectors interested in decimal transition, coinage, British royal iconography, or the art of coin design. Both Arnold Machin and Christopher Ironside are revered within the coin community for their elegant and timeless designs. While not rare, coins from this era are often collected in order to complete full sets of UK decimal coins from 1971 onwards. Collectors typically seek examples in brilliant uncirculated, BU, or proof condition, which were included in specially packaged Royal Mint coin sets. Such sets are valued not only for their pristine condition, but also for their role in marking milestones in the evolution of British currency. In 1982, the denomination would undergo a nomenclature update, and the term new was dropped from all coinage as the old pre-decimal coins were no longer circulating. Therefore, coins dated 1971 to 1981 bearing the phrase new penny are distinguishable from those dated 1982 onward, which read 1 penny. This makes the 1976 version part of the middle range of this distinct labeling era. While the change may seem minor, it reflects the broader cultural and societal acceptance of the decimal currency, and how quickly the nation adapted to a significant shift in monetary usage. Finally, the 1 new penny coin, while small and seemingly mundane, represents much more than its face value. It is a miniature artifact of an era in which tradition and modernity were in constant negotiation. With its classic design, historical symbolism, and utilitarian purpose, the 1976 1 new penny stands as a quiet yet enduring symbol of 20th century British resilience, identity, and change. For historians, numismatists, and collectors alike, it offers a tangible connection to the economic, political, and cultural fabric of 1970s Britain and remains a cherished piece of decimal coinage history. The 2002 1 penny coin, bearing the obverse inscription Elizabeth II de Greg FD 2002, is a post-decimalization British bronze coin issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, representing the continuing evolution of the United Kingdom's coinage system into the 21st century. Though it may seem a modest denomination in modern circulation, the 1p coin reflects the subtle but important continuity of British numismatic tradition, royal representation, and design integrity. The 2002 penny was part of the decimal series, first introduced in 1971. But by this time, it had already undergone several changes in wording, composition, and style that marked its maturing role in everyday commerce. While the earliest versions were labeled New Penny from 1971 to 1981, the term new was removed in 1982, and since then, including in 2002, the coin has borne the simpler inscription 1 penny on its reverse. Therefore, the commonly held term 1 new penny 2002 is a misnomer, as no coins in 2002 were inscribed that way. Instead, they featured the established term 1 penny. On the obverse side of the coin is the fourth definitive portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, created by the sculptor Ian Rank Broadley and introduced in 1998. This portrait is noted for its realism and maturity, in contrast to the more stylized or youthful earlier renditions. The Queen is shown facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a recurring feature since the Machin portrait of 1968. Rank Broadley's effigy is slightly larger than previous portraits and intentionally presents the Queen as a dignified elder monarch rather than idealizing youth. Around the portrait are the inscriptions, Elizabeth II de Greg D 2002, which stands for Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina Fide Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This Latin inscription is a traditional royal titulature that has appeared on British coins for centuries, reflecting both the sovereign's religious role and monarchical legitimacy. The reverse side, designed by Christopher Ironside, features the badge of the Palace of Westminster, also known as the portcullis with chains, surmounted by a royal crown. This design has been used consistently on the 1 penny coin since decimalization, providing continuity and recognizability. The portcullis is a historic symbol of Parliament and good governance, deeply rooted in British heraldic and architectural traditions. Above the central emblem is the denomination text, 1 penny, while the numeral 1 is placed below. The reverse design's elegant simplicity and strong symbolism made it one of Ironside's most enduring works. It was only in 2008 that this design was replaced by a new motif as part of a full redesign of UK coinage under the Royal Shield project. In terms of physical specifications, the 2002 1p coin was struck in copper-plated steel, a change that had been implemented in 1992 to replace the earlier bronze alloy used since 1971. The composition switch was driven by economic efficiency, as the rising cost of copper made bronze coinage increasingly expensive. The new material still provided the same reddish-brown appearance but introduced a ferromagnetic property, making the coins attracted to magnets, a fact sometimes used to distinguish between bronze and copper-plated steel examples. The coin has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.65 millimeters, and a mass of 3.56 grams, maintaining the original size and weight of its bronze predecessors despite the change in metal. The edge of the coin remains plain, a standard feature of lower denomination British coinage. The Royal Mint, located in Llantrisant, South Wales, was responsible for minting the 2002 issue, as it has been for all UK coinage since the closure of the Tower Hill Mint in London in the early 1970s. The mintage for the 2002 1p coin was in the hundreds of millions, reflecting its widespread use in retail and commercial exchanges. These coins were distributed through banks, businesses, and government channels, and were part of the coinage stock used in cash registers, vending machines, and public transport systems. While the 1p coin has negligible monetary value, its utility in precise cash payments, particularly in combination with 2p and 5p coins, preserved its relevance in circulation despite ongoing inflation. From a historical and societal context, 2002 was a year of both celebration and reflection in the United Kingdom. It marked the Golden Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, celebrating her 50 years on the throne. Nationwide events, including public parades, concerts, and commemorative memorabilia, characterized the year. While the regular 1p coin bore no direct reference to the Jubilee, its date and presence in 2002 make it a subtle part of the cultural and monetary record of that milestone. Collectors may also find 2002 dated coins included in official mint sets, both in brilliant uncirculated and proof finishes, some of which were marketed as commemorative items celebrating the Jubilee. These high-quality sets contain polished mirror-like versions of the standard coinage and are more desirable among numismatists than common circulation coins. Although 2002 1p coins are not rare and generally carry only face value in circulated condition, they still hold numismatic interest for collectors seeking to assemble complete decimal coin date runs, especially in high grade. Coins from this period are often collected in uncirculated, proof, or mint error condition. Certain error types, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or misaligned hubs, are occasionally found and can significantly increase the value of the piece. However, no widespread or famous mint errors are associated with the 2002 1p coin, making it a relatively standard issue. In the broader scope of British monetary history, the 1p coin represents a resilient denomination that has survived multiple transitions, including metal changes, inflationary pressures, and shifts in public sentiment. There has been recurring debate about phasing out the 1p and 2p coins altogether due to their limited purchasing power and cost of production. However, at least as of 2002, they remained an integral part of the UK coinage landscape. Their continued presence helped support small transactions and offered familiarity, particularly to older generations who had lived through the decimalization of 1971 and the many changes that followed. From a symbolic and cultural perspective, the presence of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse not only affirms her constitutional role as monarch, but also offers a sense of continuity, especially in a changing global and national environment. Her image, calm, composed, and dignified, is deeply embedded in the national consciousness. The 2002 coin is a quiet echo of that legacy, as it circulated daily in people's hands, pockets, and purses during a Jubilee year that prompted both national pride and reflection. In conclusion, while the 2002 one-penny coin may seem like an ordinary object of commerce, it is a small but enduring emblem of British heritage, economics, and royal symbolism. It stands as part of a long lineage of coinage stretching back centuries, yet it is thoroughly modern in its composition and usage. Whether viewed as a collectible, a historical artifact, or simply a familiar coin from everyday life, the 1p coin of 2002 connects us to the intricate tapestry of the United Kingdom's numismatic and cultural narrative, a story told one small coin at a time. The 2006 British one-penny coin, inscribed with Elizabeth II Digregv D 206, represents an enduring denomination within the decimalized monetary system of the United Kingdom. This seemingly modest copper-plated steel coin is part of a lineage that reflects the monarchy, evolving metalwork, national symbolism, and over 3 decades of post-decimal coin design tradition. By 2006, the new penny term, once prominently displayed on early decimal coins from 1971 to 1981, had long been removed from circulation coins. Instead, the reverse of this coin proudly bore the words 1 penny, a mark of the stability and normalization of decimal coinage. The phrase new penny is thus historically linked to its early years, but its spirit lives on in coins such as the 2006 issue, a quiet but important continuity in British currency history. The obverse of the 2006 1p coin features the 4th definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley FRBS, a British sculptor whose design was first introduced in 1998 and remained in use until 2015. Rank Broadley's portrait of the Queen is widely appreciated for its realism and frankness. Unlike earlier portraits that depicted a more youthful sovereign, this one reflects the Queen in her later years with great dignity. She faces right and wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a well-known jewel often featured in her official imagery. The inscription around her reads, Elizabeth II Digregv 2006, the Latin abbreviation for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fide Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the faith. This phrase is not merely ceremonial. It serves to connect the monarchy to both its divine right tradition and its formal role as the head of the Church of England. These titles date back centuries and have graced the coinage of countless monarchs before her. Turning to the reverse of the coin, we see a design that had already become deeply embedded in the visual language of British decimal currency: the crowned portcullis. This image, a heavy medieval-style gate with chains and topped by the royal crown, is an emblem closely associated with the Palace of Westminster, the seat of British Parliament. Originally adopted as the official badge of the palace, the IEA portcullis symbolizes strength, state authority, and openness under law. The design was created by Christopher Ironside, the official designer of the reverse motifs for all decimal coins introduced in 1971. His designs, including the 1p portcullis, were chosen in a competitive process during the late 1960s, and his work became instantly recognizable across the UK. On this 2006 coin, the portcullis sits centered, with the words 1 penny curved above and the denomination numeral 1 placed below, all rendered in crisp, sans serif lettering for clarity. The technical specifications of the 2006 1p coin are consistent with changes made in the early 1990s. Originally minted in bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, all 1p and 2p coins shifted to copper-plated steel in 1992 due to rising metal costs. The new composition retained the reddish appearance but added a magnetic property due to the steel core, which allows for easy machine, sorting, and detection. The 2006 coin weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The reverse design was struck using high-pressure dies that impart a fine detail and uniformity to the finished product. These coins were issued for circulation by the Royal Mint, which by this point had already centralized all operations at its Llantrisant facility in Wales. Billions of such coins have been struck over the decades, and 2006 saw another significant issue. Though exact mintage figures often vary depending on demand and reserves held in banks and financial institutions. From a numismatic viewpoint, the 2006 penny is considered a circulation strike, coin with relatively little rarity in its standard form. However, collectors often pursue these coins in brilliant uncirculated, BU, and proof condition, especially those that appear in Royal Mint year sets. BU coins are struck with extra care, often multiple times, and are handled minimally to preserve their luster and sharpness. Proof coins are of even higher quality, featuring mirror-like fields and frosted devices. These high-grade strikes are not released into general circulation, but are instead reserved for collectors and commemorative packaging. For example, the 2006 proof set is sought after due to its sharp detailing and the presence of all standard coins of that year. Culturally and economically, the mid-2000s were a time of relative economic stability in Britain. The country was operating under Prime Minister Tony Blair's government. And despite political debates around issues such as the Iraq War, the British economy continued to enjoy low unemployment and stable inflation rates. Digital payments and credit card usage were growing, but cash was still king, especially for small purchases, and the humble 1p coin remained crucial for pricing structures ending in 99p, cash registers, and everyday commerce. While its purchasing power had diminished significantly since 1971 due to inflation, it remained a valued denomination for rounding totals, charity donations, and vending machines. By this time, however, conversations were already beginning in the background about whether the 1p and 2p coins might one day be withdrawn from circulation, as had been done in other nations like Australia and New Zealand. Critics pointed out that these coins often cost more to manufacture than their face value and were increasingly discarded or hoarded rather than spent. Despite this, the British public maintained a sentimental attachment to these coins, and as of 2006, the government had no concrete plans for their removal. The 1p coin thus carried not only monetary but also cultural value, tying the everyday user to a tradition spanning centuries of British coinage. It is important also to recognize the symbolic resonance of the 2006 coinage in terms of continuity. Queen Elizabeth II's image had already adorned coins for over half a century by this point, and her presence was not just legal, but iconic. Generations of Britons and citizens across the Commonwealth had known no other monarch. The 1p coin functioned as a near-ubiquitous reminder of the monarch's presence and the constitutional framework within which the UK operated. For many, handling such coins was an unconscious affirmation of national identity. As for coin collecting, the 2006 1p is most desirable when found in pristine condition or as part of a full-date run of decimal coinage. Because the design remained unchanged for decades, collectors often seek examples from each year of issue in order to complete a type or date set. Some specialist collectors also explore die varieties, off-center strikes, double dies, or other minting errors that can occur during production. Though uncommon, such anomalies are closely monitored in numismatic circles and can command substantial premiums when authenticated. In closing, the 2006 1p coin may seem like a mere token of commerce, passed from hand to hand without notice. But it is in truth a capsule of constitutional heritage, economic policy, artistic design, and cultural endurance. From the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley to the timeless portcullis symbol of Parliament, this coin serves as both a unit of value and a microcosm of British tradition. It testifies to the stability of a currency, system that has evolved but not been erased, adapted but not discarded. For historians, numismatists, or everyday users, the 2006 one-penny coin stands as a humble yet profound emblem of continuity in a rapidly changing world.